Hi, I'm Charles Marsala, your host of Awesome Wildlife Effort, a show put together to draw attention towards saving vanishing species and reducing dead zones in our waterways by recognizing people making an awesome wildlife effort. In the first half of our show, we'll meet with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on wildlife trafficking and America's role as a middleman. We'll also meet with environmental scenic artists from the city of New Orleans and two other groups making an awesome wildlife effort. Following these interviews, we'll premiere a documentary entitled Rhino Rescue, created by Derek and Beverly Jobert. The Joberts are award-winning filmmakers whose mission is the conservation and understanding of large predators and key African wildlife species. They provided this video and two others to WLAE in return for our effort to help them raise funds to move 100 endangered white rhinos to Botswana's Okavango Delta, outside the poaching zone in Africa. With the help of receipt from you, our valued viewer, 25 have already been moved, with one calf already being born. Here are Derek and Beverly Jobert to explain their awesome wildlife effort.
Hi there, we've got a project that we need some help with. The news from Africa is less than encouraging. We're losing 5 lions a day, we're losing 5 elephants an hour, and rhinos are on the sharp end of that, and we're losing a rhino every 7 hours. So the poaching has almost become epidemic.
But we don't do despair well. We're the kind of people that need to look for solutions. So we're rolling up our sleeves to take action. We decided that we're going to move rhinos from the highest poaching zones to the lowest poaching zones in Africa. But as you can imagine, we have to go big on this.
So we are thinking big. We're going to move 100 rhinos out of these areas, and this is going to be the biggest airlift of rhinos ever undertaken. It's going to more than double the population of rhinos in Botswana. In essence, what it is going to do is going to put these rhinos into safe, secret locations and safeguard their future.
It's a story of hope, of success. It's a story of how we can turn this desperate situation around. We see it as a venture capital project. We'll be seeding a new population of rhinos in Botswana, redistributing DNA, a smart way to help the rhinos in the country, but at the same time, we'll be protecting them.
The essence of the message is we're going to send out to poachers, traders, users, that extinction for us is not an option.
We want to start by asking you to help us move the first 10 rhinos out of the 100 rhinos that we are going to be moving. It's going to cost us $45,000 US per rhino. Thank you for your consideration and help.
Thanks very much.
We're at the National Wildlife Refuge, which is where the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service maintains its warehouse of seized wildlife. So any wildlife seized eventually makes its way here to the warehouse.
Right now, with the dramatic increase in poaching you've seen over the last couple of years of elephants and rhinos, we want to make a statement that if in fact you're doing this, we will catch you.
People really need to understand that this is a species that definitely could become extinct if something isn't done.
So they're going to feed this roughly 6 tons of ivory into an industrial rock crusher, the same kind you see on street crews on highways.
The main point of this crush is to send a signal to the world to raise awareness about an international crisis.
This is contraband to me. This is ivory that was smuggled into the United States. It was seized by either our agents or our inspectors at the ports, and it is very beautiful carved, but it's worth more on a live elephant. We want Asia to hear this message. We want Africa to hear this message. I specifically want smugglers, the poachers, to hear this message.
I did my PhD on elephants and I live in Africa. Coming here to Colorado to see the crush is incredibly moving and inspiring for me.
This ivory would never get into commercial market. It has been seized, it's illegal contraband. We have to reduce the demand for ivory, and so by putting this material into commerce, we would essentially be fueling the demand, sending a signal that owning and selling products made from ivory is acceptable. We have to reverse that trend.
What came out, let me show you some pieces. Stuffed down in the bottom of some of the tusks were a lot of this type of newspaper.
Gotta have a bigger one?
Yeah, let's look and see.
Well, these are in traditional Chinese, so probably from Hong Kong.
It goes in a trail you look at Africa to Asia to the United States. You just look at those papers inside those tusks coming that way.
The balance that is at issue in many ways is art versus animal. The people buying this wildlife are buying it because they love, in most cases, the art.
One of the things we will be considering is the need for the United States to consider a ban on commercial trade of ivory in the U.S.
The challenge is, can we get people to see the live elephant, which they, in many cases, they can't and will never see? How do we get them to think about a live elephant the way they think about this sculpture that they see as extraordinary?
Wildlife trafficking has always been an issue to us, those of us who've been watching this professionally for many years. In a sense, this crisis is growing. There are clear indications of it's growing, but it's the world's consciousness of this that's the great change. It's been going on at a lower level with some differences of detail, but we've been seeing massive amounts of ivory moving around, for example, ivory, and there are many others, moving around the world. This is not a new phenomenon. What is different about it is that the value of wildlife products has escalated hugely in recent decades, or in recent years, of maybe 10 or so years. Therefore, it's more lucrative, thereby attracting organized crime to take advantage of what is a high benefit and a low risk operation. What we're seeing in the field is a larger scale, a more sophisticated and a more lethal scale of activities surrounding poaching and surrounding the preliminary steps in trafficking, and that is getting it from its point of origin in parks and protected areas and putting it into international commerce. So what we're seeing, not only are more carcasses, more forests without elephants, that's obvious. What we're also seeing is a level of organized crime, of very sophisticated means to transport, to acquire and transport wildlife goods. And we're seeing an uptick in some places, in many places, of collusion and corruption on the part of people who can facilitate this process. So we're seeing armed gangs, we're seeing elephants poached from helicopters, we're seeing rhinos that are anesthetized with veterinary drugs in order to do this quietly, say in the middle of the night in Kruger National Park. So the scale has increased, and the sophistication and intensity have also increased.
WLAE and Awesome Wildlife Efforts have teamed up to offer some exciting opportunities for you to support vanishing species conservation. Make your awesome wildlife effort just by going to awe.news and clicking on Become a Sponsor. Choose from a wide array of rare and exciting artwork and experiences as our thank you gift when you become a supporter of this global effort. AWE is dedicated to saving vanishing species by offering unique opportunities worldwide.
Subscribe to AWE News. We've interviewed numerous people, artists, legislators, people operating sanctuaries, activists who are working hard to save vanishing species. Get involved.